G'day and welcome to my operator guide for Mozzie. This is one of a series of short videos that will help you get the most out of each operator in Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Mozzie is a 2-armour, 2-speed defending operator from the Australian Special Air Service Regiment, the Down Under branch of the original British SAS. Mozzie specialises in disrupting attackers' intel gathering capabilities and turning their own drones against them. Mozzie was introduced in Operation Burnt Horizon along with his fellow Aussie Gridlock and the Outback map. Mozzie's unique gadget is the Pest, a miniature robot that can hijack attackers' drones and turn them against their masters. Mozzie carries 3 of these mechanical mites, and they are deployed from a launcher that operates in a similar way to Kapitau's crossbow. Once launched, pests will stick to any surface they come into contact with. This allows for a huge amount of strategy when placing them in areas that are hard to spot, but where a drone might commonly pass through. A pest has a small trigger radius, and if an attacker drone moves into this area, the pest will pounce onto the drone and begin to hijack it. It takes 3 seconds to perform the hack, and once completed, Mozzie will gain full control of the targeted drone. He can then drive it around, jump, scan and ping attackers just like operating a normal drone. This also works on Twitch's shock drone, and Mozzie can make full use of the shock drone's taser functionality as well. However, hacked drones will be disabled, but not destroyed, by Thatcher's EMP grenades. Just before entering the trigger radius of the pest, attackers will be informed that a pest is nearby, and a warning symbol will appear in the centre of their drone feed. This gives them a chance to avoid the pest or find another way into the objective without losing their drone. As well as being deployed as traps, Mozzie can fire his pest directly at an attacker drone. If the shot is on target, the pest will begin hacking the drone immediately. This can be useful if you encounter a drone during the prep phase, as it means you don't have to rely on trapping drones later on. All 3 pests can be active at once, and therefore Mozzie can access up to 3 drones simultaneously. If positioned correctly, these can provide a mobile source of intel for the defending team. All defenders also have access to Mozzie's drone feed, but only Mozzie himself is able to control them directly. If a defender phone is hacked by Dokkaebi, the attackers will regain access to the hacked drone feed, but the drone itself will still remain under Mozzie's control. Mozzie is free to drive his drones anywhere within the objective building, but if the drones leave the building for more than 3 seconds, they will lose signal and become unusable by either team. Additionally, once hacked, Mozzie's drones become immune to the electrical gadgets used by Bandit and Kaid, and are unaffected by mute signal disruptors. They can also pass freely through barbed wire without a speed penalty. Once Mozzie has deployed a pest, he can retrieve it, providing he can reach it, and redeploy it using his launcher. However, once an attacker drone has been hacked, the pest cannot be removed from the hacked drone or redeployed. At the time of recording, Mozzie is also unable to pick up and throw captured drones, something that attackers are able to do to their own drones. However, once an attacker's drone has been hacked by Mozzie, that attacker will no longer be able to pick up their drone. Like all defender-controlled cameras, a hacked drone will emit a blue light, indicating that it has been hacked by Mozzie. Otherwise, attacker drones will normally emit a yellow light. Despite this, many attackers will not take notice of a blue drone and may often ignore it completely if they mistake it for an allied one. Mozzie can use this to his advantage and continue to gather intel right under the attacker's nose. On the screen now is how I usually run Mozzie. I tend to use the Commando 9 as his primary weapon. As a 9mm variant of the American M16 platform, it is technically an assault rifle, but behaves like an SMG in every respect. With a decent rate of fire, low recoil and reasonable damage, this weapon is ideal for close to medium range engagements. I equip the Commando 9 with a vertical grip, a holographic sight and a flash hider. However, given the low recoil of the weapon, an angled grip will allow for fast aiming down sights, and could be more useful if you're willing to deal with slightly more recoil. As a bonus, the Commando 9 also has a sweet unique reload animation. Mozzie's alternative primary weapon is the P10 Roni. This is actually a pistol mounted in a frame and equipped with a 19-round magazine. In-game, this weapon is fully automatic, has minimal recoil and a fairly high rate of fire. However, its tiny magazine and relatively low damage output make it a fairly weak weapon for sustained firefights at medium range and beyond. If you choose to use this weapon, I would recommend equipping it with a holographic sight, a compensator and an angled grip, since the recoil is already so easy to manage without the need for a vertical grip. As part of a balancing patch, Mozzie's super shorty shotgun was taken away from him and given to his fellow defender Castle. This leaves Mozzie with only one option for secondary weapons, the SDP 9mm. This pistol does decent damage and has a 16 round magazine. Like with all semi-auto sidearms, I recommend fitting it with a muzzle brake for reduced recoil. For secondary gadgets, Mozzie has access to either a nitro cell or barbed wire. When used well, the nitro cell is one of the most powerful gadgets in the game, and when combined with Mozzie's intel gathering potential, could form a devastating combination. However, I usually opt to bring barbed wire, as it is always useful, slowing down attackers and wasting their utility. It's also a passive gadget, and can be deployed and then forgotten about, meaning that even if Mozzie dies a heroic death, the barbed wire can still be useful later in the round. Mozzie is a very flexible operator, and he can be played in a number of different ways. Depending on the map and objective site, you can either go hunting for drones or set traps around the objective to ensnare drones while you focus on setting up your site defense. Whatever you choose to do, make sure you don't forget to use your reinforcements, and barbed wire if you choose to bring it. You don't want to get caught reinforcing a wall while the attackers rush the objective. When placing pests as traps, it's important to place them in areas where drones are likely to go. Doorways into the objective are a perfect spot, as the trigger radius of a pest will cover the entire width of the doorway, which will guarantee a successful hijack. Of course, the mere presence of Mozzie on your team can make attackers more cautious with their droning, as not only could they potentially lose their drone, but it could be turned against them. You can also place pests above popular drone holes, as attackers will often drone the objective through these during the prep phase. If you're defending an upper floor, placing a pest at the top of a staircase is perfect, as drones will not be able to see the pest until it's too late, especially if they don't see the warning in time while they're rushing to find the objective. Depending on how many drones Mozzie is able to capture early in the round, he can choose to make use of them in several ways. A strong strategy is to drive the captured drones into areas where the attackers are likely to push from, and essentially set them up as static cameras. The huge advantage of this strategy is that your dead teammates can view the feed from these drones and use them to make callouts. When not being viewed by a defender, the drone will simply resemble a normal attacker drone and won't draw too much attention to itself. This strategy is most useful when Mozzie is able to capture 3 drones. When the drones are deployed in this way, Mozzie can work well as an anchor, coordinating the intel gathering network and relaying information to your roamers. Another strategy is to have Mozzie roam around the map himself, using a captured drone to scout around his location and find attackers that he can then flank. As a 2-speed operator, he's not an ideal roamer, but can make up for this by using his mobile cameras to gain an advantage over his pursuers. This is a good strategy if Mozzie is only able to capture a single drone in the prep phase, especially if your team is light on roamers. If you plan on doing this, I would recommend lurking in a particular area of the map and deploying your remaining pests in nearby doorways to prevent attackers from locating you with their drones. This not only wastes their time and slows them down, but can give you additional sources of intel and further enables you to locate and outmaneuver attackers. Crucially, no matter how you choose to play Mozzie, make sure that you do not spend the entire round on your drones. Even when anchoring, it's a good idea to position your drones strategically and then focus on maintaining a solid hold on the objective side, periodically checking your drones to see if there are any attackers nearby. Sometimes just a quick call out is all you need for one of your teammates to sneak up and get the kill. If you stay on your cameras the whole time, you will join a long list of Valkyrie, Echo and Maestro players who end up being knifed in the back by an attacker because they were too busy checking their cameras without being aware of what was happening on site. Mozzie's best mate on the defending team is Mute, who can act as a fly trap with his signal disruptors, catching attacker drones in a digital net, allowing Mozzie to come in and sweep up the drones quickly and easily. Mozzie can also pair very well with a Valkyrie, which brings a lot of intel gathering capability to the team. Having 3 black eye cameras and up to 3 hacked drones can keep the attackers on their toes and make them feel the pressure when they're getting pinged every second in the closing moments of a round. What makes Valkyrie and Mozzie great is that all of their teammates can view and move their cameras around to get a good field of view, maximising your intel advantage without needing to bring an Echo and a Maestro as well. As with many defenders, Mozzie's main counter is Thatcher, whose EMP grenades will completely destroy any pests caught in the blast radius. As mentioned earlier, EMP grenades will also temporarily disable any of Mozzie's drones caught in the blast radius. IQ can also see Mozzie's hacked drones on her electronic scanner, which allows her to identify them from a distance and destroy them before they can be useful. Even though Twitch's shock drones are susceptible to hijacking, she can use her tasers to destroy Mozzie's pests. Since the range of the taser is larger than the trigger radius of a pest, Twitch can move her drone close enough to a pest to destroy it without risking being hacked. Twitch can also use her shock drone to destroy Mozzie's hacked drones. Sometimes this may even involve a one-on-one taser battle between a shock drone controlled by Twitch and another controlled by Mozzie. Mozzie is a solid operator who works best in a well-coordinated team. He can be a lot of fun to play, especially with 3 drones at his disposal, and he can turn the tide of a round if used well. That concludes my operator guide for Mozzie. Did you learn anything new, or was the video full of stuff you knew already? Why not make like a kangaroo and hop down into the comments section to let me know what you think. While you're there, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more guide videos. Thanks very much for watching, and like a boomerang, I hope you'll come back soon.